will be the mass. And our second one, I clicked on the second text box, and I just wanted to point out here these are events. For the text box, you want to look at properties at this point. They should be in alphabetical order, and if they're not, A to Z will alphabetize it for you. Okay, so we're going to name this text box Force. And now we're going to name the button I'll just call it Force, because the button calculates the force. Now, naming the button doesn't change the text on the button, so we need to change the text. So we go down here, we scroll down to text, we could write calculate on it. And because I wrote 2 words, we need to resize this button so that it all shows up. So that's all taken care of. If you see here at the top of your form, it says Form 1. You can give it a name, the name of your program. Not so much the name, but the text. You can change the text. So just make sure your entire form is highlighted. Again, go down to your list of properties, and we'll change Form 1 to be Force. And then when you go up here, it changes it. If you right click on your form, and if you go to view code, this is where your code's going to be written. You want to make sure that your code, any methods that you're going to write, which in this particular example I'm not going to write any of my own, but you want to stay within this area, which is the class. You don't want to go beyond your namespace. Okay, so we'll go back to the form, and we need a method that's going to run when the button is clicked. If you double click on the button, C# brings you back to the page that I was just at, but now it has automatically generated kind of a method stub for where your code that's going to be executed when the button is clicked is going to be inside. So all your code for your button click will be between those 2 brackets. Okay, let's go back to our design report. We decided we need 3 variables and that they're going to be doubles. So we'll declare them right here. And give them meaningful names. I like to put what type it is. So these are our method declarations. If we have a look here, the first thing is that the user is going to enter a mass, and we need to take that string and convert it to a double. So we're going to say convert to double. The nice thing about having a convention that tells you what object on the form you're referring to is that when you start with when you type in the first couple of letters, your list of text boxes in this case comes up. So you have your text box Force or text box Mass. So we're going to choose our text box Mass, and it's dot text because we're referring to the text inside the text box. So it's the text inside the text box we want to convert to a double. But then once we convert it to a double, we need to put it somewhere. So we are going to put it inside the variable force, double force. No, mass. Okay. Now before we can calculate anything, we need to assign the gravitational constant, and then perform our multiplication. It's this force that we need to output, that needs to be output back into the text box that we assigned for it. But before that can be done, it needs to be converted into a string, because you can't output a double into a text box because the text box only holds strings. So we know we're going to output it into that text box force as the text. If you're just typing this in without using the IntelliSense, make sure the text is capitalized. So you convert to string. Okay, let's see how our program will run. So, knowing that the conversion factor is 9.81, the force exerted on a 1 kilogram mass is going to be 9.81 newtons. So, if we enter 1, we're expecting 9.81, and sure enough, that is correct. So if we go back to our design and testing report, so we're going to add a testing. Tested 1. And we got 9.81. Might want to be a little bit more wordy here. And then you want to state that it's expected, that this result is correct, as verified by calculations. Obviously, in this case, there wasn't much to calculate. Pretty easy. Another test we could try is 0. And we get 0. So that is also expected. And we can't really have a negative mass, but if we put in a negative mass, our program does give us something. So in your testing report, you do want to say that